1, 2, 3, and... Play me, hum me, teach me to please you. Reach me, open me wide, open me wide. Leave me no room, leave me no room to hide. Take me to your garden bower where we can play among the flowers and watch the clouds sail by. Open me wide, oh room, leave me no room to hide. Teach me to spend lazy blue sky hours reflecting with the flowers, the magic in their lives, the magic in their lives. Open me wide, open me wide. Leave me no room, leave me no room, leave me no room, leave me no room to hide.
So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. You've just heard Bienvenido, Yangco, and Jim Valley playing Jim Valley's song, Garden Bower. And Benny had Dimitri Varelas arrange it for clarinet. Beautiful. It turned out so good. Yeah, thank you. So I want to introduce everyone. We have Terry O'Hara back here on the electric piano today. Jim Valley is here as our guest musician, and you've just heard Bienvenido, Yangco. And on platform with me is Matthew Breck. He's going to be doing our meditation. And we have our practitioner in Mona Williams, who will be doing our opening prayer. And then we have Reverend Drew Eversole. And we will be welcoming 11 new members at our next service. And I want to read their names real quickly. They are Justin Arbuthnot, who usually comes this service, but we decided to consolidate everything in the next service. Darlene Green, Eiley Jordan, who teaches our youth program, Nick Migliosi, and Pam. Pam is here, and that's her husband, Pam Migliosi. Ty Minkler, Dane Norman, Gail Petersdorf, Steve Potts, Linda Smith, and Margie Tuck. So we want to welcome them, and let's just applaud our new members. It's always nice to be growing after being shut down for so long. So anyway, there we go. So we're going to open our service with a prayer from Mona Williams, and then that will be followed by a meditation by Reverend Matthew.
Good morning. What a glorious morning it is. Father, Mother God, right here and right now, I know there is only the one life, the one mind. And I am living that life and using that mind. And as I know this truth for myself, I know this truth for each person that's within the sound of my voice. I know this truth for the world, regardless of appearances. So right here and right now, I'm declaring that this day is a day of joy, of brightness, of love, of peace. This day is the day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. And so I'm knowing that this service is a blessing to each individual, whether they are in the sanctuary or listening to it virtually. I'm knowing that our hearts are filled today, that the message is a blessing today, that spring has sprung, and that is in Rev.Frances' message. So I say thank you. Thank you, God, for being a loving and gracious God. Thank you, God, for the sunshine, for spring, for the weather. Thank you, God, for CSL Tacoma, Rev.Frances, the musicians, Reverend Matthew and Reverend Drew. I say thank you to the practitioner corps. I say thank you for each person that is here in person and each person that is listening in to this service today. I say thank you for life itself. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that my word will not return to me void, knowing that it is already done. And I anchor this truth by saying, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for that, Mona. That was beautiful. I have a special meditation for you this morning, and so I want to invite you to place your feet flat on the earth. Settle into your chair, knowing that it's there to fully support you. And let's take a nice collective breath together. And let go. And let's take another deep breath together. And let's arrive here. Let's arrive here in this beautiful sanctuary with all of these beautiful souls right here, right now. Just enjoying the quiet. Knowing that the beating of our heart, the breathing of our lungs is connected to all that is. All of the love, all of the peace, all of the intelligence. It is the nature of our being. And so it is in this sacred and quiet place this morning that I want to share with you what we believe, what our philosophy teaches. And I invite you to just settle in and be open and receptive to these beautiful words by Ernest Holmes, our founder, who wrote The Science of Mind and so many other beautiful books that he has gifted us with. So enjoy this. The principles of the science of mind philosophy. What we believe. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, the one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality and the immortality and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature. And this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all of life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe in the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick and the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. So just taking a moment and allowing this to filter in and begin to resonate. Notice what it feels like. This is a gift, a beautiful gift. It is given freely with no strings attached. And we get to enjoy this and take this into our hearts and our minds this morning and allow us to be restored, renewed, and brought into the beautiful light. And this week I invite you to allow this message to resonate and allow yourself to see the world through these eyes. Taking a deep breath together, we seal it in. And I know peace for you, I know love for you, I know prosperity, health, and well-being. And as we take a deep breath, we come back to the room, we open our eyes, and we notice what things look like through these fresh eyes. And so it is.
So now we have a wonderful song by Jim, Heaven's Song.
We do. It's actually called Coming Home.
Oh. It's coming home. I'm sorry, I jumped a little bit. Coming home, yeah.
Isn't that right? You got me singing in the truck. Gonna take a whole lot of luck to get back on the road where we both belong. Now coming from the shadow, dark side of the moon, daylight she break on soon, sunlight shining bright on my face, sends out a wish to the whole human race. Love ye one another, we are sisters, we are brothers, on this promised road, magical land. Taken years, too many tears, learning how to drop these fears. Help on high, we are coming home on time. Coming home. Leaning back and staring up into the sky, and sometimes it seems that I can fly, and the love in my heart could embrace this whole world. Now and then I find a friend who reflects a life within and points the way where I can't find my own. Now coming from the shadow, dark side of the moon, daylight she break on soon, sunlight shining bright on my face, sends out a wish to the whole human race. Love ye one another, we are sisters, we are brothers, on this promised road, magical land. Taking years, too many tears, learning hard to drop these fears. Help on high, we are coming home on time. Now coming home on time. Coming home. Love ye one another. Coming home, love ye one another. Coming home, love ye one another. Coming home, now coming home on time. Thank you, Terry.
So I got a little out of order, Jim. You're going to still sing another song? Heaven's Song.
Heaven's Song.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right now.
Sky above asks the earth below, where do your gentle waters flow? The earth replied deep inside, caring heart where love abides. And the sea goes on forever. light. Where do your children sleep tonight? Sang the bird in song so fair. They'll sleep in dreams beyond compare. Kindness goes on forever. And when they wake with the dawn, they'll bathe the world in heaven's song. Love the place where they belong. Heaven's song. When they wake with the dawn, they'll bathe the world in heaven's song. Love the place where they belong. Heaven's song. The sky above us, the earth below. Where do your gentle waters flow? The earth replied deep inside. A caring heart where love abides. The sea goes on forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to play Garden Bower at the very end of the service because it didn't record. And you guys put so much work into that. So I'll call on you to come up and play that again if you don't mind. But not right now. I'm going to speak right now. So the message today is, I love it here. What would that mean? It's not only I love it here where I am in this place, in this community, in this spiritual community, but it's I love it here in my own heart where I find myself being these days. So we're going to talk about that and what that feels like. It's a metaphor for happiness and contentment. And when you look at your own life over the past week, do you love how you feel? Do you love how you feel? And if you don't, then it may be time to realign your heart. This has been a rich, heart-aligned week for me. On Tuesday night, I went with Mario to the Tacoma History Museum for the remembrance event of the internment of the Japanese in Tacoma in 1942. And prior to that, in the early part of the 1900s, the Japanese immigrants in Tacoma, who owned many, many businesses downtown, were forced to leave. The city council passed a law that all of their businesses had to shut down. And so on Tuesday, a playwright was available to discuss a film of her work that we all viewed. And it was about the removal of the Japanese Americans. They were citizens here in Tacoma, and its impact on families. And it was from the perspective of a 14-year-old girl. And at the end of the film, the playwright came forward and asked, could this happen again here? And of course, we've seen 10 African Americans gunned down in a supermarket in Buffalo, a Taiwanese church attacked by a Chinese national, reminding us of the string of racial and cultural incidents that have happened this past year. Can African Americans and Asians and other people of color and any other person labeled other say about Tacoma, I love it here? Day before yesterday, my son walked to Safeway to pick up some groceries, and then a friend of his was going to pick him up at Safeway. So he was standing on the curb waiting for his ride when a police car drove up, and the officer said, are you lost? And he said, no, I'm waiting for a friend to pick me up. And the officer said, let me see your ID. And my son said, I'm not required by law to show you my ID. That's the law. And what's your badge number? I'd like to tell the new chief of police. And the officer became very silent. And then the friend showed up to pick him up, to take him to lunch at the lobster shop or someplace. And he was African American. And that police car followed them all the way down Ruston Way to the restaurant. And my son said, you know, the police are a little out of control here. and anyway, but I was proud of him for speaking up. You know, so often we don't stand for civil liberties, or we don't use our voices to say anything about what's going on, or talk about the racism and violence in our country. And I thought of the horrendous question posed about the killings to a friend earlier the week, and I said, how do we regain our moral compass with everything that's happening? I'm sure many of you have the same question. And this couple said, you know, we're so immersed in violence as a culture, and, you know, we play video games from the time we're 3 years old that shoot people down. It's no wonder that it's become acceptable in some screwy way. Which brings me to my next question. What causes human beings to align with love? Yesterday I dropped some candles by the center, and there was evidence of a lot of love in this place. You know, the cakes were out, and it was all set for a new member welcome. And I ran into Ginger. Ginger came over. She was putting these beautiful new member gifts together. And love was in the air, just for a preparation for a party. People had been getting ready. And I thought, I love it here. Everyone has pulled together to do this event. What a wonderful thing. Because there's so many good things that we could be doing that could open our hearts. And care and affirmation were evident. On Friday, I met with two members of our church. You know, most members of our church never leave. They can go to Mexico, but they always come back here. These two went to Montana, and they always come back here. So they wanted me to. They had been hauling the ashes of their parents around for 10 years. I don't know if any of you have canisters. But they wanted to finally bury the ashes of their parents in the National Cemetery next week. So they came to tell me all about their parents so I could create a ceremony for them. And so I learned that this lovely couple read poetry to each other all the time, and they were really deeply in love with each other. So I thought, well, I'm going to use, and they knew which poems, so I'm going to use little pieces of poetry throughout the service. But, you know, it was a joy to watch the couple because they got so touched by telling the story of their parents' love for one another. So what causes humans to align with love? Bell Hooks says abuse and neglect negate love, and care and affirmation, which is the opposite, are the foundations of love. She wrote a little classic book that probably many of you read, all about love. She was born in 1952 as Gloria Jean Watkins, and then took the name Bell Hooks as her pen pal, as her pen name, which was the name of her maternal great-grandmother. And she writes, to truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. And I thought, well, all of those attributes are expressed by this team who put together this membership party and experience. Yesterday, I had a Sister Cities. I'm involved in Sister Cities, as many of you know. But we had a breakfast with the Moroccan committee, and we were trying to rebuild after COVID. Almost no one was on the committee. And so I guess it was 2016, right? It was 2016 when we had a request from our committee to take on a Moroccan student who wanted to visit Tacoma. And so we offered to our house up for the visit, which was supposed to be 2 weeks, and it ended up being 2 years. So I had this wonderful young man, 17 years old, in my house till he was 19. And then he got married to an American in West Virginia, an online relationship. Anyway, to make a long story short, he's now 24. And so he came to see me. He was going back to Morocco. And I said, you know, we brought you here. It's time you gave back to our committee. We need you to join our committee and help us create a new relationship with the city in Morocco. So he came over and he sat down and we talked. And he said, you know, instead of just giving money to a project, he said it would be good to help people help themselves. And an economic development project would be wonderful. There's so many products, you know, from our area. There's this red seaweed that heals wounds almost instantly. So if you have a deep wound, you just put red seaweed on it from Morocco, and it's healed. Or this oil that they have that is wonderful for skin and hair. Or almonds or olives. He said, let's figure out something we can do to support the workers there where they can increase their livelihood and will benefit you in Tacoma. So he's going to El Jadida in about a week, and he said, I'm going to research this while I'm there. So anyway, it was very moving actually to be on this Zoom call because his teacher, Bushaib Mifdal, who was his high school teacher in El Jadida, is now on our committee. And his brother, Mohammed, is a former city council member of a little town down the road from El Jadida. And so I think they were amazed to see his transformation from this really naive kid of 17 to a young man with purpose. So that was exciting. So I could say, I love it here. I love it here. I love it when things like that happen. So suddenly everybody got excited and the whole committee was revitalized. It happened just like that, and it had been dead for 3 years. So it's wonderful, and one indicator of love is how we are feeling. How do you know if your heart is aligned? Clearly, something is amiss when what you desire to experience or be or do, which has been installed in you by the source of your being, isn't happening. So you will know by that you've drifted off course. I listened to Michael Beckwith's Easter sermon, and it was so incredible. And he said, don't you know you're a cosmic being that gets upset by the 6 o'clock news? I mean, how crazy is that? Anyway, I thought that was fun. So I want to share a sailing analogy with you. Think for a moment about how those sailing ships of the 19th century were designed. They were designed to do two very important things. One, to sail very fast, and secondly, to stay on course. And to support these two very essential intentions, they had 3 types of sails. The first one was called the gallant sail. And those are the large sails that were strong, that could catch the full power of the wind. And then above them were the smaller sails that are called royal sails. And then above those are the sky sails. And the sky sails are small and light, and they're designed to catch just a tiny little breeze. Just any kind of breeze at all, they will catch. And although they can't deliver enough thrust to take a clipper across the ocean, they serve a life-saving purpose. They are there to keep the vessel from drifting off course. So it was the sky sails that saved the day when winds went away. And so I want us to look at ourselves today and how we are, what we do when we're starting to get off course a little bit. And then to make some course corrections by using our sky sails. So catching ourselves when we drift too far away. How do you know? How do you know that? Well, how do you know when you're out of alignment with Source? Well, what's the bottom line of how to tell? Anybody? We don't feel good. We don't feel good. It's as simple as that. And conversely, when we are in alignment with Source, regardless of what's going on in our world, we feel good. And it may not be a yahoo, yippee, jump up and down kind of good, but nevertheless, we feel at peace. So have you heard the analogy of rumble strips? I went to Gig Harbor to visit Stan Lee yesterday, and I noticed that there were rumble strips all over the Gig Harbor Bridge. I mean, big ones. They were a foot wide. I mean, nobody could go into another lane without feeling this vibration. So it's been known as sleeper lines or woo-woo boards or whatever you want to call it. But it keeps you on course. And so not feeling good is kind of our rumble strip. It's the thing that lets us know we're out of alignment and that we've drifted into some trouble. So the first and important way that ensures that we're aligned with Source is to notice how we're feeling. And if we aren't feeling good, we're out of alignment. So once we notice that, it's time for us to make sure our sky sails are hoisted. And what a bunch of metaphors today, from sky sails to rumble strips. But so there's a story of the little boy who climbed onto a really big horse with no physical assistance, no parent, no ladder. And the horse just stood there and waited patiently as he climbed and slipped and climbed and slipped. And how once the boy made it, he loved on the horse. He grabbed his neck and just loved on it. So that's another way. It's the metaphor of the horse waiting patiently. Just Spirit does that. Spirit awaits our realization of it, and how it's when we realize that, we are aligned with it. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We must come to realize that God is not in some faraway place, but that God is an inward, intimate place, a presence closer to us than our very breath." So always in all ways, the Source of creation lives in us and stands ready to express as us, but we do have to align. So to put the word into new thought language, we might say it means that we know at the core of our being that we embody Spirit. We embody God. We embody the divine intelligence. And we are surrounded by infinite possibility. So we should have faith in that. We should have faith in that. And its ability to do everything that we need to have done. So that's how we fly the sky sail. We have faith in an infinite possibility. In Rob Bresney's book called Pronoia is the antidote for paranoia. and pronoia is a word that's the opposite of paranoia. He says, let us release the cult of doom and gloom and embrace the cause of zoom and boom. Let's laugh at the foolishness of evil and hate as we summon the brilliance to praise and create. So no matter how upside down things appear, let us have no fear, because we know the big secret, and that is that all of creation is conspiring to shower us with its blessings. just like that beautiful big horse waiting patiently for the little boy to climb on, so does the universe wait patiently for us to climb on board, to realign, to set our sky sails, and to move in the direction of divinely inspired dreams. So no matter what our emotional storm, our objective situation may be, there's always something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We can stumble, but there is always that eternal voice whispering in our ear that sings, "This is the thing itself." So that's the loving energy that conspires for us for our good. And so perhaps what's needed is a pat of reassurance, but the universe doesn't need that from us. So how do we set our sky sails, which keep us aligned with the source? We can affirm, "I love it here." That's really, when you're any place, can you say, "I love it here"? I love it here. Because that is an indicator of whether you are truly aligned with source. Sharon Salzberg, the meditation teacher, that was Jude's teacher actually, she wrote about going to Walter Reed Army Hospital to do an afternoon of teaching meditation for the nursing staff. And just before the class, a friend, a nurse, took her on a tour of one of the wards, and it was very intense because there were many wounded soldiers, anxious parents, young children who had gone away, partners coming into patients' rooms. And at the end of the tour, Sharon's friend turned to her and said, "You know, the nurses who stay here and keep on serving are not the ones that get lost in sorrow. They're the ones who connect with the resiliency of the human spirit." So how do we come back to that? How do we come back to the resiliency of the human spirit? I often think the most important step is realizing we need to. We don't want to be broken, and of course we don't want to, not focus on healing, and sometimes focusing on healing and happiness seems selfish and even unnecessary. I recently spoke to a woman whose foreign-born husband had been verbally abusive, saying that she's made only to cook and clean houses. And so it's her spiritual practice to be resilient and not absorb the message that belittles her own self-esteem. So our happiness and healing are what remind us of change and possibility. The indicator is, do I love it here? In this place where I am, in this place where I am feeling what's all around me. Martin Luther King said, "Someone must have enough morality to cut off the chain of hate and the chain of evil in the universe, and you do that by love." And Buddha said, "Hatred will never cease hatred. Hatred will only cease by love." I love it here. And I can honestly say my heart's wisdom has never led me to make a bad choice. And it won't lead you there either. The best ones have been made when my heart was fully in it. So once we have this power, or understand that we have this power of resilience, we can create it and apply it in our everyday lives. And as we develop this resilience, we will find the answer of what it takes to create a way of life that reflects the values we've discovered on our personal journey. So the time is now. Cultivate your power to thrive, to love it here. And this is my hope for you, that you will love it here always. God bless you all. Thank you. So now we are going to hear "Love is the Way."
Just like that.
Just like that.
Thank you, Frances.
Uh-huh.
These are the words of Rumi in English, because he spoke English, didn't he? Love is the way messengers from the mystery tell us things, all kinds of things. Love is the mother. We are her sons and daughters, and she shines right inside us. Visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust, or feel it start to grow again. Can you sing that with me? Visible, visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust, or feel it start to grow again. In your light, I learned how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. Dance inside my chest where no one sees you. Sometimes I do, and that sight becomes this art. We're gonna start again. Love is the way messengers from the mystery tell us things, all kinds of things. Love is the mother. We are her sons and daughters, and she shines bright inside us. Here it comes again. Visible, invisible, as we trust or lose trust, or feel it start to grow again. Love is the way messengers from the mystery. Love is the way. Love is the way. Thank you.
So it's time for our offering. Would the ushers please come forward? We'd like to say the blessing in the program. What I'm going to ask the musicians to do is to do Garden Bower for the offering instead of the other song. Since it didn't record, and we really want people to hear this because they rehearsed over at Jim's. And you all heard it already, but our viewers at home couldn't hear it. All right, so let's say our blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Play me, strum me, hum me, teach me to please you. Reach me, open me wide, open me wide. Leave me no room watch the clouds sail by. Open me wide. Open me wide. Leave me no room. Leave me no room to hide. Teach me to spend lazy blue sky hours, reflecting with the flowers, the magic, magic in their lives, the magic in their lives. Open me wide. Open me wide. Leave me no room. Leave me no room. Leave me no room. Leave me no room to hide. Thank you again.
So, next week, you're going to hear Nocturnes and the Quarter Moon. Anyway, we want to have our healing prayer from Mona Williams, our practitioner.
What a blessing. Father, Mother God, I stand here today knowing that my life is your life, knowing that my mind is your mind, knowing that there is only one life, and that life is God's life. And as I know this truth for myself, I know this truth for each person that is within the sound of my voice. And so today I declare that I love it here. I declare that my soul, my spirit is alive and thriving and loving. And I'm just knowing right here and right now that God provides me with the way, Spirit, I know you do, to let me know when I am out of alignment, to guide me back to that place where I can stay in that statement of I love it here. That's a healing place, the loving place, the place of grace, the place of love. And so I'm just knowing that I love it here, Spirit. Father, Mother God, and I say thank you. Thank you for the lesson today. Thank you for the knowingness today. Thank you for the healing today. the kind nudge to say, is something going on that I'm not loving it here? What is it that I need to do? I say thank you for your divine guidance. Thank you for Rev.Frances bringing this message to us today. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the practitioners. Thank you to Reverend Matthew and Reverend Drew. Thank you for each person that is here. I say thank you, God. Thank you for life itself. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that my word will not return to me void. I anchor this truth by saying, and so it is.
So announcements, we have a couple of things. One, Reverend Matthew and I are doing a forgiveness workshop on June 11th. And it's not too late to register. It's in person, so it'll be right here in the sanctuary. It's from 9 to 4. And I think you'll love the content of this thing. There are 3 different sources of wisdom from several authors, including Desmond Tutu and Edith Stouffer, who used her work in prisons in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a profound work. So anyway, you can register online, do so. And then we have a workshop from Darlene Green, who's the author of 3 books on love, which will be from 9 to 12:30. She's doing 3 of them, and they don't have to be taken all. They are standalone workshops, but it's called Love is a Beacon, and it's a workshop from 9 to 12:30 in person here. And the first one is called Invitation and Conscious Access to Now. So it's about being in this now moment. And then on the last Sunday of the month, we have Anton Miserak and Laura Berryhill doing performance. They're doing both the message and the music, and it's called Music and Myth. And they'll be telling 3 wonderful stories to illustrate transformative process. So that will be on Sunday, June 26th, 9:30 and 11 o'clock service. There's no need to register for that. They're just here. There is a concert that will be given afterwards for a love offering at 12:45. So if you want to stay for about a 45-minute concert, they are going to be doing that. Their music is wonderful. They've been here many times over the years, but over a long period of time. They've probably performed here over 20 years. He called recently and said, "We're on a tour. We're back touring." And so they're coming. Then on the 16th of July, we hope you mark your calendars for Graceland, our Elvis event. It's going to be at the Elks Club, July 16th, and we have a committee if you'd like to join us on Thursday afternoons. We want to have some more people on our committee, and we'll be telling you more about that next week. Actually, tickets will be available next week. So, and then in August, we start Foundations again. If you haven't had that seminal class, which is the baseline class of everything we teach here, it will be Monday, August 1st, and Bev Holland is teaching it. And you can go to the website and register. And then we've instituted a new practice, which is potlucks every first Sunday of the month. So our next one will be June 5th. So if you come, not to this service, but to the other service and want to bring a dish, please do. So those are the announcements. And we're going to close with Forever Young, because we want you to be forever young and say, "I love being forever young," okay? So the words are in your program. So please join Jim in singing.
God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always see the light and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. And may you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. And may you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. Yes. May you stay forever young. Thank you. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. We'll see you next week, and God bless you all. Hallelujah. Okay.